What is this man's official title?
Is it the Pope? Head of the Catholic Church?
Yeah, it's not his official title. So we rang, I love this, we rang the Papal Nunciature. Guess where they are located?
Lowestoft.
Wimbledon.
Oh.
And the spokesman translated the Pope's titles from the Vatican's official directory. They are Bishop of Rome, Vicar of Jesus Christ, Successor of the Prince of the Apostles, Supreme Pontiff of the Universal Church, Primate of Italy, Archbishop and Metropolitan of the Roman Province, Sovereign of the State of Vatican City, Servant of the Servants of God, but not Pope.
Try fitting that on a name badge.
I know! It's a colloquial term from the Italian papa, so it's a style rather than an official title.
Why do you think those guys all around the back are looking in the air?
Because their hats haven't
And the
landed
Pope's
yet.
looking forward.
My hat came first!
Supplementary question, is the Pope Catholic? I mean, literally, is the Pope a Roman Catholic?
He's a Roman Catholic. Yes.
Because the Pope, that is, this man, is not called the Pope, then he is a Roman Catholic, this one is a Roman Catholic, but the actual Pope is the Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church of Alexandria, and his official title is Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of all Africa on the Holy See of St. Mark the Apostle. So he is definitely the Pope, but he isn't a Catholic. He's the Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church. So the Pope, the man whose actual title is the Pope, isn't a Catholic. The Pope isn't officially called the Pope, and the man who actually is the Pope isn't a Catholic.
Clear?
Yeah.
What did the Pope's librarian say when he first saw the rings around the planet Saturn?
They initially thought the planet had ears.
Ah, yes.
That was Galileo. I mean, I don't think he actually thought it had ears, because Galileo was a genius.
No, he thought like a jug. Ears in the sense of a jug ears, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, that's Galileo, who was sensible.
They are
I'm
remarkable.
talking about the librarian of the Pope.
Do you know...
He genuinely believed that it was possible that after Christ's ascension into heaven, the rings of Saturn were where he put his foreskin.
Ah, yes.
Now, you may think, oh, I'm trying to mock the church. This is all nonsense. But Christ, of course, was a Jewish boy, and like all Jewish boys, on the 8th day of his birth, he was circumcised.
50,000 miles across.
They
Imagine
didn't know.
the size.
They weren't aware of that.
I need a pig to hang this massive foreskin on.
I've got new respect for Jesus.
That's some girth.
His name was Leo Alatius, and his essay was called De Praeputio Domini Nostri Jesu Christi Diatriba, a diatribe, a discussion concerning the prepuce, foreskin, of our Lord Jesus Christ.
This is how to interest teenagers in astronomy. this is how quick I've been listening.
Is it out there as a relic?
Well, like all the relics, there are 18 places who claim to have the
Really?
one true holy foreskin.
Oh, they really?
of Christ, yes. They are. Catherine of Siena was one of the weirder of the saints. She believed that Christ gave her his foreskin as a wedding ring in their mystical marriage.
What a gift.
After her death, her hand was cut off and became a relic with its invisible foreskin on it as a ring. She was an extreme anorexic, a peculiar woman. She also actively sought out degrading experiences. She once drank a cupful of cancerous pus from a woman who had abused her. So naturally...
Has she appeared on Mock the Week?
But now, more importantly, more significantly, how were the rings around Saturn actually formed?
I'm going to play the card there.
You are right. You're a true scientist. The fact is, nobody does really know, do they? There are two sort of major... Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
I didn't copy, I wasn't copying.
Yeah. There's a Socratic acceptance of the limits of one's own knowledge, and there's ignorance. I'm not saying which is which. No, quite right. There are two major theories. I think there are two major theories. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
right?
thought there could be a moon that,
Yes.
that was either disrupted, so something hit it and fragmented it. Although they are almost pure water ice, which, come to think of it now, sat here, makes the moon theory a bit unlikely, doesn't it? Because moons are made of rock. So actually...
So the other
But
theory
that
would
is
be
what-
that it would be something to do with the formation of the planet itself, that
Yeah.
something spun off it in some way and then achieved a stable orbit around and then formed these...
God
And they
spilled his
don't
drink.
coalesce together. They're held, the structures are held by the other moons. There are over 60 moons of Saturn.
Are they part of the rings or entirely separate from the rings?
Some of them are inside small moons called shepherd moons, which go around and you get rings in between those moons. And then it's got moons outside the rings, which affect the structure of the rings. So they orbit outside and affect it.
Quite
so it's a
big
very
moons?
complex...
Life-carrying moons?
structure. Well, there's a moon called Enceladus, which is about as big as Britain. It's a very small moon. But it has fountains of ice rising up out of the surface. And it's thought that means that there may well be liquid water beneath the surface, so pockets of liquid water. Everywhere on Earth that you find water, you find life.
Of all these moons, like, this is the one thing I wanted to ask you. Of all these moons, which one's most likely to be the home to Ewoks?
The Titan,
Titan,
has got
yeah.
a thicker atmosphere than the Earth. So you'd need to be furry.
Good answer! We just have to destroy the one that has Jar Jar Binks on it, though. That's it. Now, what's the most inappropriate thing beginning with M that the Pope has kissed? Yes, Sarah Millican.
My breasts.
Well, this has come as a shock to me. Tell the story. Where were you?
That's it. He sort of fell.
You fell on your breast.
I was in like W.H. Smith's and he come in to bless some Bibles or something and he just tripped on because the carpet was... And I had a low-cut top, and I don't wear one for QI because it feels disrespectful.
Yes.
But I normally have them out, and he just landed, and because his natural inclination is to kiss things, he just kissed them.
Wow.
What was his reaction?
Did he like it?
He was pleased.
Did he go,
No, he was too polite for that, but I could see a little glint in his eye.
Anyway, a merkin. What's a merkin?
It's a pubic wig.
A pubic
Yes.
wig. Could a pope kiss a pubic wig? Wow. Is it likely?
If he was drunk enough.
On communion
Tripped
wine.
in a different way.
Well, we get back to the 17th century. There's
It's a tall lady.
I think you're going to like this man. There's an English highwayman called Captain Dick Dudley.
Dickie Dudley.
Dick Dudley. I think you're going to like Dick Dudley. He was hiding in Rome, and while he was hiding from the law enforcement officers, he bought a dead prostitute's pubic wig, a merkin, from an anatomist. He dried it well and combed it out, that's in inverted commas because it's a quotation, and sold it to the Pope. There they are. There's a selection of them.
I like the one on the bottom right. That's
Yes,
excellent.
good, nice curls.
Yeah. That's had a perm, that one.
So this was Anne Summers back in the day?
Kind of.
My goodness.
He sold it to the Pope, could have been Clement X or Innocent XI, as a piece of St. Peter's beard.
Well done, eh?
Popes like relics. He's a great man. I like Dick Dudley.
Gunnable the Fourth.
Yeah.
A beard, you say?
St. Peter's. Exactly. The Pope put it on his mouth, kissed it multiple times, and appeared to be thrilled with his purchase. Dick was paid 100 ducats, and he immediately skedaddled it out of Rome before anybody caught up with him and could call his bluff. So, what kind of glass does the popemobile have in its windows?
Oh, probably the... Has he got the slidey kind so we can sell ice creams? I imagine it plays the ice cream van music. I'm not casting aspersions on the Catholic Church, but...
No, be very careful.
A stained glass.
Stained glass, that's a very good point.
It's tinted.
Lovely would that be?
Tinted.
Is it tinted? So, like, when they're all waving, everyone thinks that he's in there doing that, but actually he's cracking open some tin. He's like flicking the bees.
What else would you say about the glass?
Well, it's... You want us to say bulletproof, don't you? That's the thing, isn't it?
I wouldn't. Would I want you to say what?
Bulletproof.
Oh! I'm afraid we're being very technical with you. There's no such thing as bulletproof glass by any manufacturer or anybody else.
Cost me a fortune in my hand.
It's called bullet-resistant glass. They don't claim it to be bulletproof. 4 inches thick will do. It's layered with sort of vinyl and things in between, and it absorbs the shock of the bullet. And there's a really clever, which is one-way bullet-resistant glass, where you shoot into it and the bullet does that, but you can shoot out from the other side and it goes straight through.
Well, if that gets
So
fitted
the
in
Pope could
correctly...
fire
You've got
back.
one shot.
Or they could put a gun up to
be
it.
possible.
It's because of the way the lamination's done. I can describe to you if you wish. It works because of the order in which the layers are assembled. The shock absorber layer is on the inside with the glass on the outside, is the reason.
That would be great if you could be shot by the Pope. That would be... How exciting would that be?
Yeah. You can shoot, he's shooting a bit, yeah, you're going to hell, I've had a word.
He'd definitely do the sideways thing, wouldn't he?
Just a matter of interest, how many popes does the Vatican have per square kilometre?
How many popes? Like, buried or in storage?
No, actually, live, living popes.
1.
No. There's actually 2.27 recurring, because Vatican City is only 0.44 of a kilometre. So on it, the average would be per square kilometre.
Oh, well, I think we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The most annoying question ever asked. I think we've done it.
I understand your point of view. You're quite right. So let's get straight down to business. Question 1. Does the Pope eat beaver? Sure not.
I would say yes.
The Pope does eat beaver?
Yeah, because he's a Pope. He can have whatever he wants.
He can have whatever he wants, but can he, as a good Catholic, have whatever he wants, for example, on a Friday in Lent? Yes.
I like that. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you want to do it again, do it again.
This is like the early learning centre.
Well, wasn't there a plan a few years ago to reintroduce beaver into Scotland?
I didn't hear about
No, but the Pope ate it.
Yeah, but it's said to taste rather like beef, actually.
Yeah.
They really are like little people's arms.
They are. I think that is a person. That's the Pope there.
His hand. Oh, I see, the one on the right.
Oh, you mean those little ones? No, you're right. His front paws.
Look at his hand. They are like little hands.
They are, yeah.
But
Yes. That's what the Pope's thinking. He's actually looking and going, yes, he's got little hands.
They've asked him, they say, are you ready to order? And he's going, shall I have beaver?
Here we are. I mentioned Friday in Lent. What do Catholics not eat on Fridays in Lent?
Meat.
Meat. Flesh, as in animal flesh that isn't
They
fish.
have
They eat fish. Yeah, and the Roman Catholic Church has designated beaver as a fish because it is scaly and lives in water.
So, at all these little schools, primary schools all over Italy, they have beaver and chips and peas on a Friday?
Probably more likely in American Catholic countries.
Well,
the capybara, which is the largest rodent on Earth, which is a South American rodent, 400 tons of it are eaten during Lent in Venezuela alone. Capybaras are likewise designated to be a fish. The Pope would, if he were to eat, he would probably eat them on a Friday in Lent, as he might a capybara. Right. How would you suppose you might tell the sex
They're
of
only male.
one beaver from another?
One male would have a
penis.
penis.
They have males and females. Well, yes, but it's quite hard to spot.
And the female would have a beaver.
Yeah.
I can't have a beaver's beaver.
I want to talk about anal excretions.
Now, I was just about to...
Please,
I was about to bring that point up because in the anal scent glands of the beaver, there's secreted a substance which is actually found in aspirin.
You're absolutely right. I'm going to give you 5 points for that. It's correct. It's called custodium. It's been used as a medicine for hundreds of years. It's called castorium.
Castorium.
As in castor the beaver, and it contains salicylic acid, as you rightly say.
If you've got a headache, you... Rimming a
Lick
beaver.
out a beaver. That's quite right. But so often, unfortunately, the beaver's got a headache anyway and won't let you do it.
Why was it hard for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle?
Guys, to the right.
This is because it was a gate, wasn't it? It was a gate.
No. Christ, if you remember, says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God.
Of course, and these were the days before liquidizers.
Yeah.
So there was no chance of pureeing up the thing and getting a straw. And I mean, it would be a mess, but it would be doable, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, because remember, this is a rich man we're talking about. He would have people to
He'd
do
have
this
all
for
the
him.
white goods,
Yeah.
wouldn't he? You know, if there's anything.
Obviously, what happened is a lot of rich men read the Bible and thought, that can't be right, surely. So there are two get-out clauses. One was this idea that there was an eye of the needle gate in Jerusalem city walls, but there is absolutely no contemporary historical or archaeological evidence.
Well, actually, in biblical times, women's hands were significantly bigger than they are today. So a needle's eye could be 40 or 50 foot across. Enormous.
You still want that rich man to get through, don't you?
Well, the thing is, what someone told me, I might say, at my bloody school, which is still going, and it turns out it's talking bullshit.
I bet it was a private school. Where they don't like to get on the wrong side of rich people.
There are two sorts of gate to get into cities in those days. One that was quite wide, one that was quite narrow, and a fully laden camel couldn't squeeze through quite a narrow gate, and those were called eyes of needles. And what Jesus wasn't doing was being sort of sarky and going, yeah, it's about as easy for a rich man to get into heaven as to get a planet into a shoe. He was actually saying that if the camel was no longer fully laden, hence the wealth had been, dumped somewhere, then the camel went in easy as you like.
I don't know how rich you are if all your stuff is on the back of one camel.
Well, it depends if it's diamonds.
Yeah,
that's
damn
really
rich.
rich. They hadn't found all the South African diamond mines then, so diamonds worth even more.
Yeah, good point.
In the coronation of George IV, all the diamonds in the crown jewels were hired. The King of England wasn't rich enough to own enough diamonds for one poxy coronation. That's how expensive diamonds
Can you
were.
hire
now,
diamonds?
any sort of rap star's got
Of course you can. At the Oscars, all the actors hire diamonds.
That would be the Everest of unsure engagements, wouldn't it? I've just rented this for a week. Let's see how things go. Let's wait till after you put
But no, you're absolutely right, David. That is precisely what...
Jesus was being
Jesus
sarcastic.
meant exactly what he said.
Should have just said, you can't. If you're rich, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
How many circles does hell have?
Someone just went, 7. Was that for me? Were you trying to...
That person was wrong. There are not 7 circles.
It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire all over again with the coughing.
Yes.
5.
5. Why 5?
Did you say hell or the Olympic rings?
These are concentric circles of doom that, depending on how bad you've been.
It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and then the devil's in the middle.
OK.
Who was the person who wrote about the circles of hell?
Dante.
Dante, so in Dante's Inferno...
9.
Absolutely.
9
circles in hell. So the first part of the epic poem, the Divine Comedy. So the 7th circle is the one everybody talks about, but there's nothing special about it. It's where murderers are punished.
Oh.
Isn't there a weird thing where murderers are punished there, but then it gets worse if you're a fraudster, which I'm annoyed about? It's just made like there's a murderer, and then in a worse place is me and my accountant going, what?
Well, you do strike me, Jimmy, as someone that eventually will murder as well.
Just to get out of hell one step at a time.
You're going to end up in the 8th circle of hell.
The 8th?
Yes.
OK.
It's where fraudsters, pimps, hypocrites, coin forgers and flatterers are punished in, frankly, various...
Flatterers? You look well, Sandy.
So what, being a suck-up is as bad as being Jimmy?
Yeah, so flatterers get immersed in dung. That's their thing.
Oh, OK.
Quacks have to suffer the ailments that they've caused in life. People who try to predict the future have to walk around with their head on backwards, unable to see ahead.
What about Daily Mail readers? Are they in number 9?
We know what circle Jimmy's in. See if anybody else wants one of these. First circle is just basically limbo. It's for virtuous non-Christians, so...
Gary Lineker.
Why Gary Lineker?
I just say that about any ex-Tottenham player. First circle of hell, straight away.
Second one is lust. This is the first of the circles of incontinence.
Can I go back to 1, please?
sexual incontinence rather than urinary, if I may say so. So you would be spending your time with Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, people like that.
And you get to spend time with Helen of Troy?
Yeah.
That put me down for one of those, yeah.
Yeah. It's too late, you're already in number 8.
This is quite a sexy circle, isn't it? This
Yeah,
one?
that's a good circle. Gluttony, that's number 3, trapped in a vile slush. Greed is number 4.
Sorry, what flavour was the slush?
Is it like the blue one? I like the blue one.
The blue one is good. You get to be pounded by icy rain. I don't know if you fancy.
Oh, it is. It's literally slush.
Yeah.
Is greed in a different category to gluttony?
Yes, and they have to push rocks around pointlessly.
Is there a way of pushing rocks around that isn't pointless?
Yes, it's curling.
Now, when is it cool for a brother to bring a chick into a monastery?
Do they sort of have, you know, it's like on Christmas Day when, in the days of servants, the masters used to serve the servants. On Christmas Day in a monastery, all the rules are off, and it's, you know, time to shag everyone.
Any idea where that might be, that monastery? Do you know in the audience? Greece. No, you see, Greece, good audience. It's Mount Athos. Mount Athos, which is described by many as the holiest place on earth. It contains 24 large monasteries and hundreds of small monasteries. It's only about 350 square kilometres.
It's like Travelodge have opened one in Narnia, isn't it? It's just like... Comfortable living, fantasy prices.
It does look a little forbidding, I grant you. No females of any species are allowed on Mount Athos. I mean, obviously they can't stop wild birds and stray cats, but no female animals, no female humans are allowed. Apparently because the Virgin Mary discovered the place and said, no woman shall set foot here after me. Prince Philip visited it with the Queen. The Queen had to stay in a boat 500 yards from the shore.
I dare say she was gutted to not be a jumpy idiot again. Oh, God, he's going to call him... Oh, what's he going to do now? Oh, no.
Well, for 1,000 years it's been like that. I mean, it's pretty astonishing, isn't it? But they do let in hens. Why would they let in hens?
Eggs.
Love an omelette.
But they prefer eggs to the jizz of the male hen.
You don't know monks very well, do you? They'd much prefer cock, I think. No, it's not actually to eat the eggs.
To mock them.
You make faces on them.
Yeah. No, it's to use the yolk for mixing paints, for icon painting.
So all their icons smell of egg.
Well, a lot of tempera, a lot of that is a good thing for binding paint together. Right. It's been used egg yolk for a long, long time, apparently. So that's why they make an exception to their rule of no
So if you
females.
get trapped in a monastery and you can't find the fridge, yummy, yummy icons.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, is it like that wallpaper in Willy Wonka where the different colours taste of different flavors? Oh, the snozberries, taste of snozberries.
All the Jesuses taste of breakfast.
Well, let's have an easy one to start with. Strictly speaking, where does the phrase chariots of fire come from?
It's a film.
Where did it originate? It's something to do with this.
Where does the phrase originate? It's a quotation.
Yeah, it's a quotation.
From what?
Shakespeare. Must be Shakespeare.
No.
And, those chariots of
Well,
fire.
so Jerusalem, the hymn Jerusalem.
You fell finally into our trap.
Finally! Oh, sorry, it's the first question.
Embarrassing how long it took you to get the wrong answer. Yes, I did start by saying strictly speaking. Strictly speaking, it comes from a poem by William Blake called...
Chariots of Fire.
No. I'm ashamed of you. You must know the first line of...
I must, but I can't be asked to tell you.
And did
those feet in ancient times.
Thank you. Finally we got that.
I know that.
Yes. That's the name of the poem from which the line Chariots of Fire comes. The tune is called Jerusalem, and it's referred mistakenly as a hymn.
Thank you for starting in my key. Come on, England's
clouds unfold. Yes, really what I'm after is, what does it mean?
What?
And whose feet?
Jesus, surely.
Right, so what is the story of Jesus coming to England?
Is there a film about it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then
Not to my knowledge.
Well, then I'm in trouble.
Holy...
As they say, this is what people say now when they don't know the answer. They say, I'm out of my comfort zone.
You have been
Odd
the
euphemism.
equivalent of sitting on spikes for the last 10 years, Alan. Yet to discover your comfort zone. OK, listen, there is a legend that Jesus came to England and he was said to have gone to a particular place.
Was it
The
Glastonbury?
audience know. Ah, thank you.
Glastonbury.
Glastonbury.
Yes.
Glastonbury tour. And he went with his uncle. What was his uncle's name?
Bob.
Uncle Bob Price.
Bob is your
Surely, they were more informal in those times, surely. Bob Christ.
His uncle's name was the same as his father's name.
Joseph.
Joseph, and he was named after a place.
Is it like working with very slow children?
Thank you. Say it again so the camera can get it clearly.
Right. OK.
This is a new thing we're
hang
doing.
on a second. Hey! I was proposing my fate.
Joseph of Arimathea.
No, I said it. I said it. Joseph of Arimathea.
I'm going to throw cold water at you both in a minute.
Joseph of Arimathea.
Now.
Joseph of Arimathea.
It was the first ever Glastonbury Festival, if you will.
It was,
that
yes.
Jesus supposedly came with his uncle, Joseph of Arimathea, who is mentioned in the Gospels.
Right.
Although, it has to be said, Arimathea is only mentioned once, and that is in relation to the place Joseph came from. No one knows where it is, where it was, where it could have been. Anyway.
Could have been a falafel tent.
How many heads did Jesus' granny have?
Maternal or paternal?
Well, if you think about it, he only had a maternal grandmother because his father wasn't Joseph. So he had his mother's mother, but he didn't have a father's mother because God didn't have a mother. Ah, yeah.
So I'm not as stupid.
Oh, no, you're not even... No, you're not. You couldn't be.
How many...
No, I mean... No.
I couldn't sink as low as Stephen's expectations.
No, not at all, at all.
His mum's mum had how many heads?
Yeah.
One head.
Well, his mother's mother was St Anne, and rather oddly, she had 7. On the authority of the church, she had 7, because for hundreds of years during the Middle Ages, her heads were proudly on display, simultaneously, at Lyon, Apt, Aix-la-Chapelle and Chartres in France, in Bologna, in Sicily, and in Düren in Germany. And so she must have had 7, because the church recognised them all.
Right, if you were one of the 3 wise men, and let's just say, rather embarrassingly, Waitrose had run out of myrrh. I know, nightmare. What would you give the little baby Jesus instead?
A stern talking to, I think.
A stern talking to?
Yeah, just keep your head down. Don't be, keep a low profile. Don't be starting any movements. If you find out you can do magic later in life, keep it to yourself. If you go to a party and they've only got water, let them drink that. And don't be doing no sermons on no mounts.
What is myrrh, actually?
It's a resin. It's a resin from a small thorny tree, and it becomes a sort of waxy gum. So what are the 3 presents that the wise men supposed to bring?
Frankincense, gold, my personal fave.
Yeah, and myrrh, and they're all symbolic presents. So gold represents the symbol of kingship on earth. Frankincense is an incense, a symbol of deity. And myrrh was actually for embalming. It was a symbol of death. Now, what you could give from a supermarket of your choice is chervil. So chervil was French parsley. You find it in béarnaise sauce and things like that. And it's very similar to smell and so on to myrrh, but it's the complete opposite symbolically, because actually it means leaves of joy and it represents new life.
Oh, God, do you think he wasn't a wise man? He was actually quite a stupid man and he brought him the wrong gift.
What have you bought? Embalming fluids. I've been born! Embalming fluids!
Yeah.
A truly wise person would take Calpol.
That's fair.
Do you know?
Probably.
when you have got frankincense, what is the vessel in which you put the frankincense when you're doing that with it? What is that called?
I don't know that. What is it called?
A thurible.
Oh, that's very good.
And the person who does that is called a thurifer. And the little boy who walks along beside
Or a girl, thank you
holding the
very
boat.
much. One of the old altar girls here, thank you. Always working in a male-dominated environment, even since a young age, altar girl. Yeah, sorry, the furable.
Yes, the furable.
Yes.
That's it.
Oh, fine.
The
Sorry.
It's a furable.
That's it. The thurible is the instrument, the person is the thurifer.
Yes, I've just never known you be so concise, so I enjoyed it.
Could Jesus walk on custard?
What? That... At one point when he was a children's entertainer, he might... It sounds like a sarcastic question you would ask Jesus. Oh, water. Yeah, great. What about custard?
It's not so much a question of could he, Stephen. I mean,
What, you're saying he did?
He did. He did it. I mean, it was very hard to stop him, actually. This was one... This come out in research recently. This was one of the Lord's favourite pastime. Out with the bread, out with the fish. Look what I got for dessert. Somebody hold my shoes. And he'd be, and he'd be doing it.
And he could turn everything. It was just water, wasn't it? A lake. And he just go ding, and he could anything. Jelly, custard, instant whip, anything. Yeah.
Did he walk on a lake of custard, or did he have lots of bowls of custard and between them?
Well, the fact is, not only could Jesus walk on custard, you can walk on custard, I can walk on custard.
I can.
All of us can walk on custard, as this experiment by the Sky One programme Brainiac clearly shows. There you are. That is not a fraud. That is absolutely real. It's a non-Newtonian dilatant fluid. And it's honestly true, this. It means that the more pressure you put on it, the more weight you put on it, the harder and firmer it becomes. You could slowly put your finger through it. This is raising images. Your finger slips in smoothly. No, please, help me out here. But if you slap it hard... Oh, dear.
A normal bowl of custard, we know, would support a fly, and we know it wouldn't support a man. So somewhere in between those two examples, would it support, for example, a vole or a mouse?
Probably.
Children everywhere all over the country will now be putting their hands
walking on custard.
In bowls of custard.
Children, whatever you do, please try and walk on as much custard as you can. What did Mary Magdalene do for a living? Mary Magdalene, what did she do for a living?
Are we doing it? I just want to hear that again because I'm so in the groove with that shit.
Yeah.
She was a sex worker.
A sex worker, a prostitute.
We call them sex workers now.
Sex workers, they are called sex workers.
They're sex workers.
No, in as much as we know anything about her or anything about anybody in the Bible.
She's got jaundice, that's what we know about her.
I think we've taken faces from some sort of Sienese school rendering of her. But she's mentioned in each of the four Gospels, Mary Magdalene, and not one of them says she was a prostitute or even a sinner. At some point, she became confused with two other women in the Bible, Mary, the sister of Martha, and the unnamed sinner from Luke's Gospel, both of whom washed Jesus' feet with hair, if you remember. In the 6th century, Pope Gregory the Great made this confusion official by declaring in a sermon that these three characters were the same person. This remained the official line for over 1,000 years until the Catholic Church finally ruled that Mary Magdalene was not the penitent sinner in 1969. And the whole world went, ooh.
Oh, I've been calling her a slag for 2,000 years.
Can I just ask, right? I'm no art historian, but why is there a severed baby's head with no body attached?
It's like a flying tray with a head on it, isn't it?
Just the wing ears.
You will get these in Baroque paintings, putti, as they're called.
But how do we know that that is a cherub and not just like a fat-faced bird?
Well, the Baroque did go rather crazy, and there's no real excuse for it. It's overdone, to say the least. But the one thing that we know about Mary Magdalene is that she wasn't a prostitute.
Who's the oldest man in the Bible?
Chimney, cheree.
Noah.
No, not Noah. He was quite old.
Methuselah.
Oh!
I fell into the bear pit.
How old was Noah?
Noah was 950.
Older than Adam, then?
He was older than Adam, oh, yes. Adam was 930 years old.
How old was Methuselah?
Methuselah was 969 years old.
Well, that just sucks. Why do we go he's as old as
Well,
Methuselah?
because Enoch is still alive. Enoch never died. Enoch was 365 when it quite specifically says in the Bible that the Lord took him. God decided that he would not give him death because he was a good man. And even St. Paul wrote about it. He said,
Stephen, bring him to me.
If you were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, he'd be a very good phone a friend.
Oh, wouldn't he?
Oh. Would it be great if you phoned up?
Hang on, I'll see if he's in. You know, he's not your friend.
Well, no, that seems to be the case. French philosopher Descartes believed that all humans could live as long as the patriarchs, as those old figures from the Bible are known. And he believed he was right on the brink of inventing a way that would make us live for at least 1,000 years when he died, aged 54. So there you are. That would make Enoch 5,387 years old. Which brings us back to Alan and maps.
What have I done?
Well, now there's a question for you. There's 100 points in this if you get it.
100 nectar points?
No. 100 points if you can tell me which was the last place in Britain to convert to Christianity.
Oh. God, I know this. Oh.
It's got... Any...
No.
Go on.
The summit of Ben Nevis.
Tube.
Two guys.
Underground.
Aye, what's this Christianity?
Any thoughts on this side of the table?
Is it a place called Satan is My Master on...
It's pronounced Semster.
Is it now on the British mainland, or is it something going to be the Falklands?
The Lake District.
No, it's not the Lake District. It is not on the British mainland.
Essex.
Not on the mainland. I repeat, it is not on the British mainland.
Not on the British mainland?
Essex is not culturally on the British mainland, but...
The Isle of Man.
Oh!
Isle of Wight?
Yes!
No!
It's the Isle of Wight. Oh, well done.
Clapping for. That was a total guess.
It was, of course.
Brilliant.
No, it's surprising because you would imagine, of course, that the Isle of Wight was about the first place the Christians would come to.
Wheels on the bus
The Needles.
Yes, darling, those are called the Needles. Very good. 1 point to you for knowing about the Needles. Top work. What do you know about the Isle of Wight?
All the clocks stopped in 1952, and all the shops are the same as they were then.
It does seem a little like that, doesn't it? Yes, there's one species of animal that's still...
Dog, cat, rat, mouse.
Hasn't made it to the Isle of Wight.
Horses.
No, there are horses on the Isle of Wight. But most people are rather pleased this animal hasn't made it, not a fox.
Flea.
Snake.
Oh, the rat, because of the magnet.
No, it's often called... It's often called a kind of rat, like pigeons.
Mouse. Squirrel.
The grey squirrel. The grey squirrel.
All right, squirrel.
Stephen.
I was going, yes.
Shut up, Bill.
All right, squirrel. You made the point.
Squirrel.
The grey squirrel. The North American grey squirrel.
Don't say squirrel.
The North American grey squirrel.
Well done, Alan. Very good. You're the first person to get that.
Oh.
No, Rob, I wouldn't do that to you.
This is an editing masterclass.
Little face.
Editing masterclass, you say. All right. The North American grey squirrel?
Red squirrel. The red squirrel can't live with the grey squirrel.
Ebony and Ivory are together on my piano keyboard, so why can't they be?
Yeah.
You mean a kind of squirrel fur keyboard?
Nice. nice.
That's barbaric. Are you saying you want pianos clad in the pelt of a squirrel? If that's what you're saying, Fry, you should be stopped.
Isle of Wight was the last place in Britain to be invaded by the French, by a foreign power.
How did they miss that, then?
Sorry?
How do they miss the other? Do they go onto the mainland and then straight up?
Oh, Christianity?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know, it's odd, isn't it?
When they came back, they went, hang on, what's that?
You've left this bit out.
They see them worshipping Satan.
It was in 686 AD, almost a century after the rest of the country. Subjugated by Cadwalla, who was king of the West Saxons and who had to kill most of the pagan population to Christianise it. Good old Christianity. How many sheep were there on Noah's Ark? Surely.
I smell a setup.
Somebody.
Hey, OK, it's a trick. None. They were floated on a raft behind the ark.
No, there were sheep on Noah's Ark.
Noah never built an ark. It didn't actually happen.
Well, according to the Bible, how many?
Two.
Yes, there was
Just get it over with.
Yes, you're right. No, it's a common mistake. People haven't read the Bible much these days, but I can read to you from Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
Why did he talk like that?
Well, he spoke Hebrew, didn't he, dear? This is a translation into English, you see. But they spoke like that when they really could speak English, Alan. I think in 500 years' time, when they hear things we've said, and perhaps even things you've said, they might go...
Don't pick on me. You're quoting from a mythical being.
No. I'm just reading.
There were two of everyone. They went in two by two.
How would you know
Even
that?
my nephew knows
Yes,
that.
yes.
How would you know? It's the only source of information we have for Noah's Ark is the Bible.
Rubbish.
And this is what it says. Listen.
Yeah.
Will you listen first and then comment? Will you agree to do that?
I read it. Jane's fighting ships.
Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two the male and his female. Of fowls of the air by sevens the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. And sheep are accounted clean beasts.
Oh.
So there would have been
You've
7.
obviously never lived with one.
No, it's really according to sort of kosher law. So pigs there would not have been. Okay. Camels would have been in 2s, but the clean beasts came in 7s. Maybe they could breed more and so on. Anyway, I agree with you. It's a surprise. Everybody thinks in the Bible.
Animals went 2 by 2.
Exactly.
Hurrah, hurrah. Except the camels, because they were filthy. Hurrah, hurrah. But then the sheep, but not the then came the amoeba. 1, no 2, no 4, no 8, no 6.
Fantastic.
A lot of the ferries and ships nowadays, you're not allowed to take animals on them, which is ultimate irony.
That's a good point.
You wonder what Noah would make of that.
Yes, exactly.
Why would they say 7 animals? Because that means 3 pair and 1 animal.
Want to watch. More than £20 billion gets spent in the UK each Christmas, and 1/3 of all books, clothes and toys are sold in the last 8 weeks of the year. 150 million Christmas cards get sent, 7.5 million trees are decorated, and we buy enough wrapping paper to gift wrap Guernsey. So, let's just take a few moments then together and try to remember, why is Christmas Day on December the 25th?
Ring, ring, ring a ding.
And it's the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Wallamy, woo.
Well, I thought we'd get it out of the way.
Yes. Is that a very, very small fire, or are those huge stockings?
It's a midwinter solstice. It's a pagan festival that's been appropriated by Christianity.
There is a great deal of truth in that.
Do I get the points back?
You will certainly get some back. It was indeed, there's a Teutonic, Celtic and pagan view that if you survived the winter solstice on the 21st of December, you have a feast to celebrate. But also, there was the Roman god.
Was it Saturnalia?
There was the Saturnalia was also at that time of year, but there was Mithras.
Just the 2 of them were there?
Well, there are amazing things claimed about Mithras, and I'll read you some of them. He was a saviour, Mithras, sent to Earth to live as a mortal, through whom it was possible for sinners to be reborn into immortal life. He died for our sins, but came back to life the following Sunday. He was born of a virgin on December the 25th in a manger or perhaps a cave, attended by shepherds, and became known as the light of the world. He had 12 disciples with whom he shared a last meal before dying. His devotees symbolically consumed the flesh and blood of him. Because Mithras was a sun god, he was worshipped on Sundays.
Is he a tribute band?
He's often depicted with a halo around his head. And Mithraists gave each other gifts on December the 25th. The leader of the religion was called a Papa, and their HQ was on Vatican Hill in Rome.
And you're kind of writing off the chance that this was just a massive coincidence. And then one day they all went to the Vatican and went, what? Hang on. Right?
Well, a lot of Christian scholars have since been very angry at some of this research which came out in 1903 about Mithraists, and they claim it's nonsense.
There's a few flaws, though, aren't there? I mean, I've never heard a bloke go, oh, Mithras, when he's coming. Have you?
No, you're right. I'm not sure that Christians would point to that as somehow a vindication of their religion. It's certainly true that there are dozens of religions in world mythology that have had visits by wise men, kings who've killed children to stop the new king being born. There's a great deal in Christianity that is traditional. And however wonderful people think the story is, it's frankly not original.
This is an interesting direction to start your Christmas special with.
Well, what did the 2001 census reveal to be the 4th largest religion in Britain?
Oh, this is going to go off, but I'm going to say Jedi.
No, the 4th largest number of people put Jedi as their religion, but they were not counted as a religion. Those who put Jedi were put in the box no religion.
They were ruled out for being silly, weren't they?
Well, basically ruled out for being silly. The 4th biggest religion is in fact.
Wait, so Christian's got to be top one still. Muslim second.
Yeah.
Sikh, Hindu.
Yes, 4th is Sikhs. There were 14 Scots who put Sith.
Do you know what when they released a press release about this? It's like something like 37,000 or something.
Yes, it was
37,000 people
huge,
put Jedi
more than
down.
that, 390,000.
They released the actual official census form said, what was the number again? Sorry?
390,000.
390,000 was released as 390,000 Jedi there are.
What are the 4 main religions of India? Yes, Alan.
Sikhs.
Yep.
Buddhism.
Oh, no, it's not
Hinduism.
Hinduism, yes.
Christianity.
Yes, and one more. You've only said...
Islam.
Islam, yes. In correct order, they are Hindu, Islam, Christian and Sikh.
No Buddhists.
There are Buddhists.
In India?
It was invented in India, of course. The Buddha was an Indian, but it's not one of the 4 main religions. There are 805 million Hindus. There are 134 million Muslims. There are 23 million Christians. Just 23. Just 22.5 million more than there are in Britain. And there are 19 million Sikhs. Buddhists, there are 7 million of them. 0.7% of the population. Although Buddhism was founded in India, its spiritual home today is, of course, Tibet. Which religion causes harm by sticking pins into dolls? Oh!
I don't know, but I bet he set it up.
Pins into dolls, who do that? Oh, hello.
Voodoo.
Oh, he did. He said voodoo. Thank God, he takes it. No, it isn't. Voodoo has never involved the sticking of pins into dolls.
What so a religion does?
European witchcraft.
Oh, I thought it was the Methodists.
Do you know...
A bunch of heretics.
Do you know what the dolls are called in European witchcraft? They're made of wax, or they're made of ceramics, made of wood, straw, all kinds of things, but there's a word for them. Do you know? It's rather nice. Poppets. Poppets.
Isn't that lovely?
The closest, anyway, that voodoo ever comes is they do have these little empowered figures called bocellos, which have small holes into which you put tiny pegs to channel healing energy. So it's a generous, kind thing, voodoo, to help people. It had made its way through slavery from West Africa to the Caribbean in particular, of course, Haiti is where it's most associated with. The missionaries and so on came and they wanted to discredit the local religion in order to raise up the claims of Christianity. So they said it was full of cannibalism and zombieism and things that they had actually gotten out of European witchcraft. And so it was really... Poor old voodoo has rather suffered from it.
They should get you to redo their image for it.
Yeah, why not? New double-action voodoo.
Take 2 poppets into the shower.
Yes. What was unique about Good Friday 1930 that urgently required 10 minutes of light piano music?
Did Jesus come back, change his mind, and they had to fill in?
No, it was
he
a
was
news
drunk.
programme,
He was
but
drunk.
instead of news, they played 10 minutes light music. Why would that be?
Because something had happened?
Quite the opposite.
Nothing had happened?
Nothing had happened.
And no news
An
today.
announcer came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, there's no news tonight, so here is some music. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Yeah.
There was no news.
Nothing.
Well, in fact, we've tried to
Anywhere
check
in the
what did
empire.
happen, and aside from football matches, in India there was the start of what was called the Chittagong Rebellion, but which 700 youths attacked the telegraph office and disconnected all communications in the city of Chittagong. But that didn't happen until 10 o'clock. It was too late for the news in London. So there was no news, it seems.
They probably didn't have traffic reports.
They wouldn't have had traffic.
And here we go live to the camera at Hanger Lane.
Yeah.
And there's a bloke on a bike.
Knocks, I wouldn't give you much chance of getting home before 6 o'clock, and that's a fact.
You better call up your maid and butler and tell them to put something in the oven.
No, but that's it. I mean, local papers have to deal with no news every week. They still write the paper every week. My favourite ever, when I used to live in Sheffield, the Sheffield Star, was my favourite ever headline: Workshop man dies of natural causes.
Fantastic. Oh, that's bliss.
But what about the story of the giant microphones invading the BBC? He's terrified.
They were hushing that one up.
The incredible shrinking announcer.